Hello everyone, welcome back to Technical Tuesday. Today's video is going to be on gradients, and hopefully third time's the charm. I've tried to record this multiple times. My children are home, and first time I made an oops, second time my youngest was being terrorized by the oldest. They are stir crazy from the holidays and being off of school for so long, so I apologize. If you hear yelling and screaming in the background, I will have a grounded child, and I know he can hear me, so he better leave his brother alone. So hopefully he doesn't get himself grounded right before Christmas. So we're going to go ahead and go in, and we're going to do a horizontal gradient. So you apply, we're going to do two colors. Go ahead and apply your colors, and generally, if you want it to go faster, you will apply a base color to the nail, just one coat of the lightest color in the gradient. And then you would apply on the sponge all of the colors on the gradient that you're going to do. So we're going to use black and white, and you want them to overlap just ever so slightly to help with the blending. You can wet the sponge ahead of time if you want. I don't personally do that. But there are people out there who do, so it picks up less polish. I like it to have more polish inside of the sponge. I feel like the gradients turn out a little better to me. That is all personal preference. Robbie, please stop running in the house. Children. So once the polish is mostly absorbed, you can sponge it across in the directionality that you want. This is going to be the horizontal. So we're going to sponge it across. And make sure that you let the layers dry in between, or you can pull the polish up off of the nail. If you're doing this on your natural nails and not a tip, you might want to make sure that you put some kind of cuticle barrier on, otherwise you're going to have a very big mess and you're going to have a hard time cleaning up your cuticle area. So whether you do cuticle barrier strips like these, or liquid latex, or liquid cuticle barrier that's latex free, just make sure that you put some kind of protector over your cuticle area. Okay, once this is more absorbed, we will go in with the sponge again. Okay, so go ahead and we will sponge over. And we will do a third layer. I don't know if that's my husband or the neighbors I'm hearing. That's the neighbors, okay. The fun and joys. Okay. Alright, so we're going to put another layer on. And like I said before, we want to make sure that this is ever so slightly overlapping to help with blending. And my oldest is not listening to my advice about leaving his brother alone. No choice. Robbie, please leave Kyle alone. Okay. My child. And we're going to go ahead and go over the nail again. Nice and opaque. If you want a bigger blend line, Then what I would suggest doing is adding a third color and adding it in between. That is a mix of the two colors, or one that is similar already pre-made. Like in this case, I would put a dark gray in there instead of just the two colors. I would have it directly in the center line. So once you are done sponging, very carefully, and I do mean very carefully, this is where I messed up. I let the brush touch, put a layer of quick dry top coat over top. Yeah, I'll let the brush touch ever so slightly, but it's still okay. And that's your horizontal gradient. Now we are going to go in with our vertical gradient. It's a very similar process. I'm going to go ahead and, where's my scissors? There they are. You go ahead and throw your disposable cup away, that's fine. If you haven't brushed your teeth, I need you to go do so, okay? If you haven't brushed your teeth yet, you need to go do so, okay?
I think you said if you haven't brushed your teeth, go do so.
Yes.
Okay. Because I couldn't hear you past the door.
That's fine. Thank you.
You're welcome. I've already brushed my teeth.
Okay. You can play your video games if you want. Alright, so now I'm going to go in with the vertical.
That's mine. I have it. That's what I did.
Oh, children. My patience is waning. But we'll get there. It's been a day. Close to Christmas. The kids are getting crazy. Okay. So, when your sponge is really small, like mine, you kind of have to use the edges to do bigger parts. In this case, I'm going to leave it more wet because I'm using the edges for that part of the nail, the different sides, because it's such a small sponge. I would use a bigger sponge area to cover the nail normally, but I'm running out of sponges. So if you're like me and you only have a little bit of sponge to work with, well, this is kind of what you're looking at. Okay. So, let that layer dry. We're going to go in. You going to capture some more Pokemon, buddy? Thank you for leaving your brother alone and no longer aggravating him. He's not in the mood, buddy. He's really not in the mood. Overlap those layers. Okay, so I just refilled the sponge and I overlapped the layers just ever so slightly. You can see it in the camera. And now I'm going to go back over that area. Excuse you.
Yeah. That was hilarious.
Hilarious. That's what you're referring to? Yeah. No.
That was the funniest thing I've ever had.
Okay.
Funny this was. I'm in Duolingo.
Okay.
Not again. That's a stinky fart.
All right, Robbie. Buddy, if you're just going to make a bunch of noise, can you play somewhere else?
Okay. I'll be silent.
Okay. Thank you.
No.
Okay. So, go in. And we just keep patting until we have the gradient we're after. And I am struggling here because my sponge is small. There we go. Okay. So, just like before, we want to go in with our Quick-Dry top coat. And then we have our vertical gradient. Okay, now let's go in and do a diagonal gradient. Good grief, child. Okay. So, this will be fun. And I think in this particular case, I might just grab a fresh, though I don't have my fresh sponge. Okay. Now we'll just do it this way. Okay, so I'm going to use this side of the sponge. And what we're going to do is we're going to go in and go in the direction in which we want this, which is diagonally. So I can get the polish. This video may kill off this bottle. And I think my child is heading to the bathroom. As much farting as he was just doing, I would not be surprised. Okay, we're going to overlap this on the sponge ever so slightly. Okay. So, for the sake of the nail, we're going to... Yeah, I already did too. Yeah, I already figured it out, kiddo. Well, clean yourself up then. Children. Okay, Robbie. Mommy's still filming, remember? Okay. Okay. So in a diagonal gradient, make sure that you've got the polish oriented in the direction in which you want the gradient before applying it. I'm getting polish all over myself. Okay. I may have to add some thinner to that if I want it to continue on. Okay, so make sure that your diagonal line is where you want it, and sponge. Be careful because diagonal gradients can be a little bit trickier to keep where you want it. They are definitely a trickier gradient to do. Okay. Yeah, wash yourself up, buddy. Okay. I'm going to add some thinner to this polish. Okay. That's where we're having struggles here. These get kind of thick, and there's not much left of it. There we go, that's better.
Mom,
What, buddy?
I forgot what team left.
Yes, buddy. I do believe I can count down by one. You already told me the number before you had that happen, so Mommy can count backwards. Okay. And then, like I said, make sure the orientation is the direction in which you want. And sponge in that direction. Once it's opaque and where you would like it, gradient wise, I'm using the white side to dab in that area ever so slightly. My hands are a mess. Give me just a second so I don't mess up this tip, touching it with tacky, polish covered hands. Because this polish on my hands is kind of tacky. And can very easily transfer. Leia, mommy's in here. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, my children. The furry and the non-furry. Good thing I planned on redoing this, Manny. So I got it all over there. Okay. So, apply top coat very carefully over. Kind of want to float it on. You do not want the brush to touch. If the brush touches, it can
mess it up.
Yes, it can mess up the gradient you just spent time on. I don't know if Smudge Free will work on it or not, but that is worth a try. Okay, now for the outer edges. That's where I like to use these generally. I use this end with a nice little point to it. And I'm just going to cover this tip. And we're going to go in on the edges. With the tip going into the center. And you want it to kind of get tackier the further in you get. So it's lighter the further in you get. Now you can also get this kind of effect using a regular sponge by dabbing, much like I was showing before, but having the center color being the in the center, what you want for the color, and then around the edges. On this is the full size sponge, and you would generally do it on like this section of it, or this might be big enough theoretically, but you would have it that way. Okay. But this lovely little tool is a lot easier to do this kind of thing with. And dab around the edges, the dark color. And then once it starts getting tacky, start moving inwards. You kind of hear it in its tacky stage. Just let it pull up the polish ever so slightly around the edges. And then once you have the desired effect you're looking for, go in very carefully with the top coat. I'm going to clean my sponge. And I just dip it in acetone and dab the polish off. And that is how I get an outer edge gradient. It looks different from the other method I'm about to use. There it is. Sorry. Could not find. You know what? Let's test this smudge free and see what happens. Because like I said, I don't know. Theoretically, and then you would just use quick dry top coat over top of that. Theoretically it would work. Okay, yeah, that's working easier. So you can use this smudge-free top coat or very carefully use, I don't know why I never tried that before. Now, I'm going to use this black tip and I'm going to take this more rounded one and put white on it to do the other spherical circular gradient. And in this case, I'm going to start in the center and I'm just going to dab it around the center. And when you use a dark color underneath, it has it, instead of the lighter color, it has a different effect. And doing this particular form has a different effect too. This is actually the method I used when I did the shipwreck manicure that I showed in my large stamping image video. And I used a very dark blue as the base, and then I used a very light blue sponged on in this method. Let's absorb a little bit. And I also need that in the center some. Okay, so I just keep moving the sponge in kind of a circular motion and refilling. And I use the edges that doesn't have polish to kind of spread it out and dilute it. And in the center, I make it more opaque. So I will probably use the other side with black on that one area. Sometimes you do have to sponge in the darker color a little bit over an area. When it gets to that tacky stage, that's when you can get it to fade out to the edges. Okay. We're going to need to go in with a little bit of black at the other end. Just a little bit. Ever so slightly. white. I wasn't liking the shape that it was coming out in. And just gently tap in.
It's okay if I check if the puzzle glue is dry.
Please leave the puzzle alone. I will check it after I'm done recording, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. We've already had Kyle touch it once, and we're lucky it didn't get messed up, okay? But it was still wet when he touched it. It's probably going to take a while to dry. It's going to take about a day. It should be ready to be moved after tonight, though, okay? I know you want the puzzle to be dry. We did that together, and you're ready to see it completely glued together. I know. All right. And there's the other method. Two very similar effects, but they're a little different on how they look. These are just basic gradients. You can do more complicated ones. Now that I'm done cleaning that sponge, I will pull up, after I'm done top coating this, I will pull up the mani I did with more complicated gradient. And see, the effects are a little different here. Get this lidded. I don't want to lose my smudge free. Okay. So when you're looking at it, you can see how the dark is going into the light and vice versa. It has a different effect when you sponge from the center out with the light color versus sponging in on the edges. It has two totally different effects. The mani I did, there's Instagram. This was a 3-color gradient, and it was a more complicated. I had just a green at the bottom of the nail right here, and then I had a purple like U with a blue center, and it's kind of hard to see on there. So I did a more complicated gradient there, and for the sponged center gradient that I was talking about, this is the one I did. I did a very dark blue and then a lighter blue around the center. And that is the end result. I gotta pull up the, no, it's not gonna let me pull it up any more than that. So that is the picture of that one. So this is the processes I use for basic standard gradients like these. If I do a diagonal, vertical, horizontal, or a dot one, I don't know, center, I guess is the way to put it, center gradients. And you can do it with whatever color combination you want. And really you can do it with as many colors as you want as well. This is just how I do it with 2 colors, nice and simple and easy, and this tool is very handy when doing these type of gradients right here. And so that's all for today's video. Next week we will be covering how to do these type of gradients with gels. Different methods on doing gradients with gels. And if you like this video, feel free to give a like. If this is not your first time watching one of my videos and you like my content, feel free to subscribe. If there's a request on something you would like to see me do, then go ahead and leave a comment below or message me on Facebook or Instagram. I will leave my Instagram handle in the description below. If you would like to help support this channel and because you like my content and you like Maniology products, I am an ambassador, and I will leave my code down below for 10% off of all orders that's not their subscription box. And I get a small kickback that helps replenish my stock of acetone and things like that, and help keep up with new releases to show comparisons and idea videos for you guys. And I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I will do my first giveaway. So, if you guys like my content, make sure you subscribe. We will be doing a giveaway once we get to 1,000. So, I hope that this was helpful and that you guys enjoyed this video, and you are all having a good Christmas. By the time you see this, will be past Christmas because that's my launch date. I hope you all had a good Christmas, and don't have any struggles this year. I know a lot of people do around Christmas time. And that you all are having a good morning, evening, afternoon, night, whatever it may be, wherever you're at and when you are watching this video. And thank you all for watching. And until next time, bye.